Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Coming to you again live from our house. The topic today, the title today rather, is what came first, the chicken or the egg? I didn't think I could ever use this joke of why did the chicken cross the road? I hope you all know the answer. But with such a topic, we could use this joke as an opener. The question of what came first, the chicken or the egg, is not really our problem today. I want to discuss a different issue on the same concept of what came first. Did Shabbos come first and then the 6 days of the week, or do the 6 days of the week come first and then Shabbos? On the one hand, the Gemara tells us in Masechta Avodah Daf Gimel Amud Aleph that Misha Torach be'erev Shabbos, the one that toils, that prepares, that works before Shabbos, he will have and enjoy on Shabbos. Simply means if you prepare, you'll have. Because on Shabbos you can't cook, on Shabbos you can't shop, on Shabbos you can't go out and carry anything. And therefore, if you prepare, then it's a preparation for the Shabbos which follows the week. So what comes first? Does the week come first and then the Shabbos? Or is Shabbos the beginning of the next week? The answer from the Gemara seems to be pretty simple. First comes the week and then the Shabbos. And simply, if you count the days of the week, and we say this in Kiddush as well, Shabbos is the 7th day of the week. So first comes 6 days, and then is the week. First weekday, then Shabbos. It also says so when it talks about Shabbos. Sheishes yamim ta'asa melacha, or te'asa melacha. 6 days you should do the work, or the work should be done. And the 7th day you rest. So Shabbos follows the week. First comes Shabbos, then comes the week. However, if you look at it from a different perspective, look at the davening that we say. And Lichadoidi, when we talk about the praise and the singing of a welcoming Shabbos, we say, let's go to welcome the Shabbos Queen. Kihi mekor habracha, because it's the source of blessing. And what that means is, Shabbos blesses the coming week. It's the source for all the blessings for the following week. So first comes Shabbos, and then comes the weekdays after. So which one is it? From the Talmud, from the Gemara, it seems that first is the weekday, then the Shabbos. But from the prayers, it seems like Shabbos is somehow leading into the coming week and is blessing the coming week. And this is really a debate or a difference between the Torah portion, the parsha that we have this week, and the previous ones. What we're dealing with in these last couple of Torah portions is building of the Mishkan, building of the tabernacle, building of the tabernacle. And the concept of building the Mishkan, Torah begins about the importance and the command to build a Mishkan, and then eventually, after a few portions, it tells us about the mitzvah of Shabbos. So first comes building, which is done 6 days of the week, and then the mitzvah, the command to keep Shabbos, is given to us. So from that angle, first comes the week, and then comes the Shabbos. But in our parsha, when they actually built the Mishkan, not heard about the command to do it, but when they actually erected it and set it up, it's the other way around. First, the opening of the parsha is Moshe gathers the Jewish people and he gives us the mitzvah and the special gift of Shabbos. And then it goes on to building the Mishkan. So to summarize, guys, and by the way, you're welcome to ask questions, comment. I really encourage you to like the video, to share it, to subscribe. But on the one hand, we see that Shabbos follows the week. First comes 6 days, and then comes Shabbos. On the other hand, Shabbos came first, because Shabbos is blessing the coming week. In the Parshas, we find a similar concept. First, we're told build a Mishkan, which means work, do your tasks, and so on, day to day. And then we have Shabbos. On the other hand, in our Parsha, it says do Shabbos first, the mitzvah of Shabbos, and then it talks about the building of the Mishkan when it comes to actuality. So let's get to the bottom of this. I want to use an analogy of a cell phone. When you have a cell phone, you have to charge it, right? It's a battery, and you have to charge it every once in a while. Today we have fast chargers, and we have wireless chargers, and all these beautiful things, but you have to charge your phone. What comes first? Do you start with a full battery, and then you use it and have to recharge it? Or do you charge it first and then start to use it? You start full and then refill? Or do you start empty and you first have to fill? It's a very important question. It sounds trivial, but in most cases, it depends how you got the battery, right? If the battery came full, then you use it to the end and you refill it. If the battery came, like most phones do, empty, they even tell you to turn off your phone, plug it in, charge it to the full maximum, and then start to use it. So do you start full and then slowly empty and then refill? Or do you start on empty and you first have to fill up before you start? Now, this is a very deep Kabbalistic concept, because when the prophet Yechezkel talks about an image, a vision that he had about what's going on in the spiritual worlds, there's a term there, Ratzoi V'shuv. Now, I'll explain it, not to get lost in Kabbalistic terms. What it means is running and arriving. It means running or returning. And everything in this world is built in such a way that it goes and comes back. It goes and comes back. Let's use the heart as an analogy. You have a heart, which thank God is beating. And what it does is it's sending blood with oxygen to all the other limbs of your body. And thanks to that, they could function properly, they could live, and they could do what they're supposed to do. This blood then returns back to the heart. The heart pulls it back and gives it more oxygen and pumps it further. So you have this process of taking blood, oxygenating it, if that's a word, and sending it out to the rest of the body, and then it comes back. It's ratzoi, it's running out, leaving, and returning, sending and returning. Or another way to look at this is, you have this great yearning, you want to accomplish, you want to do, you want to connect to Hashem, and then he's settled down, it comes back to you. So there's this, in life, there's this constant process, and you'll see it in everything. There's investing and returning, there's working and reaping, sowing and reaping. There's this constant give and take, back and forth. Spiritually, our purpose in this world is also to elevate the world, to make it more spiritual, to sanctify all the mundane around us. And the question is, what happens first? Do we start with holiness that we give to the world, or do we start with the world and we bring that to the holiness? Are we coming full and emptying out, or are we coming empty and filling up? So it depends who's talking. If it's Hashem, when God is talking and he's telling the Jewish people about the mitzvah of building a Mishkan and the mitzvah of Shabbos, which is the prior sections, the prior portions, parshas that we had, first comes the work and then comes Shabbos. Because Hashem is a full battery, obviously. He doesn't have to load up from the world. He's giving to the world. So he starts with the mitzvah of build. Do what you have to do in this world. Because he has the energy and he's giving us the ability and the holiness to sanctify that world. And then, after he tells us to build, then he says, okay, now you have to come back and reload. Because he's starting with a full battery. In our parsha, Moshe is telling us what to do. Now it's a human level. He's saying, guys, I'm going to start with Shabbos. I need you to fill up on holiness, on energy, on positivity, sanctifying everything around you. In order to do that, you have to come full. And then after Shabbos, I'm going to tell you, go and build a Mishkan. So the first thing Moshe tells us is keep Shabbos when it comes to actually building the Mishkan. After you kept Shabbos, now I can tell you to build a Mishkan. Because in order for you to go into the world and actually make a difference and have what it takes to rise above the mundane and the hecticness and the craziness around us, you have to have something. You have to have some energy. You have to have some spiritual powers. I don't mean supernatural, but it gives us in our physical way that we could do something. We have what it takes. Where do you get that from? You get that from Shabbos. And the truth is, this exists, this cycle that we start full, or we have to first load up, and then we could start to work and impact. We have to take, like they say on the planes, right? Put on your mask first, and then the mask of the person sitting next to you. It sounds selfish, but it's not, because you won't be able to put on the other person's mask if you don't have your own mask. So what has to happen, and that you see this throughout life. Let's take, for example, the day of the week. Oh, a typical weekday. You wake up in the morning. What's the first thing you have to do? So Torah teaches us you have to pray, you have to daven. Why? Because before you start working and before you get into all other types of mundane activities and responsibilities and good things of life, you must pray. You have to load up on spirituality. You have to get that energy. You have to connect. And then you have a full battery and you can get out there and actually do something in the world and productively and impact and elevate and sanctify. So our day begins with davening, with spirituality. We say, even before we get out of bed, we say, Meida Ani. It's the very first prayer in any prayer book. Meida Ani Lufanecha. I acknowledge to Hashem, thank you, that I'm alive, that you gave me back my soul. We start with this acknowledgement. We start with this connection. We have this relationship to Hashem. That's in our day-to-day. And the same thing is when it comes to Shabbos, as we mentioned, right? You start with Shabbos. It gives you energy for the week. And then you take it with you. And you could go through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, etc., because you have that strength. You have that holiness. You have that infusion of energy. And during the year, it works the same way, right? What's the first month of the year? So in Torah, it's sometimes Nisan, the month of Pesach, which we're getting to. But in the calendar, it's Tishrei, the high holiday month. What happens during that month? We load up. We have Rosh Hashanah, we have high holidays, we have Yom Kippur, we have the 10 days of Tshuva. And then we get to Sukkot, and it's a happy time and a rejoicing time. And then Simchas Torah, the most happy holiday. What are we doing in this first month of the year is loading up. Getting that energy, getting that spirituality that we could take with us throughout the year. So we have it on a daily basis. We have it on a weekly basis. We have it on a yearly basis. And I'll take it even further. We have this on a life cycle basis. What happens when a person starts their life, when a child is born? So the prophet tells us in Eiv, in Job, Ayir pera adam yivaled. A person is born, say wild. Untamed. A child that's born has to be trained, has to be educated. You need to go through a certain process where you mature and grow. You're not born, you don't just come into this world and all of a sudden you everything you're supposed to do and you're mature and you know how to behave and how to deal with issues. You develop. And therefore, the first thing that has to happen is you have to build your spiritual character. Just like when you wake up in the morning, you want to first do a little prayer or a long prayer, connect, and then get out there and go about your day with that energy and that connectedness. Similarly, and Shabbos, the same thing. You start with that holy day of the week. You fill up on energy. You fill up on holiness, and then you get out there. Similarly, in our life, you start off your life, and the child's life has to be with the Jewish education. Don't say, let's deal with basics and then we'll get to spirituality. Because the truth is that spiritual connection is the key. That's what's going to help them do that. First, send them to a cheder, a Jewish preschool. They should learn, they should connect. Even before they go to school, when they're home, don't look at the Jewish education part as something which is secondary or it's extracurricular. This is their energy. This gives us our connection and our ability to get out there and really connect. And this is our answer. What comes first, Shabbos or the weekday? From our perspective, Shabbos comes first because Shabbos gives us the ability to work those 6 days that follow. It gives us the ability to focus and to really behave the way we're supposed to. And this is an interesting story. Somebody came to the Rebbe and asked him, should I go to college or should I go to yeshiva? And that particular individual, the Rebbe told him, go to yeshiva first. And when you have your backing or your foundation of knowledge, of Torah, of spirituality, then you could go out there and learn the other stuff. They're important. Don't misunderstand. But you need a foundation. You need that full battery. And I think in the time that we find ourselves now, with the coronavirus spreading all over the place, we should recognize the same thing, that we have to have special energy. We have to have special abilities. We need to really tap in deep to ourselves and do what it takes to function, not just to survive, but to thrive in this environment. A lot of things are different. And it's important. Start your day with a davening, with a prayer, with a learning. Connect. Do something spiritual. It'll help you throughout your day. It'll help you to stay focused. It'll help you to do what you're supposed to do, even though you don't have that regular routine. So before you log off, please subscribe, share, like. Let's get this learning around. And I wish you a wonderful day. And I'm here or somewhere connected to a electronic device for now. So reach out if you have any questions, comments, or you just want to talk. I'm here for you. Have a wonderful day.